Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to try something a little different and try to do a video series like everybody else is doing. I have been really enjoying all the ones on people looking at their bookshelves and reading their TBRs down. I will never do the TBR to zero. Just be aware, my numbers are extremely high of what I own. And I am not one of those people who want to have a TBR zero. I need options. I am vastly the mood reader that when you say who is a mood reader, that is me, because I will switch on a dime. Like, I will change all the time. So I've decided to do my own version of this. I've been trying to think about it, and I woke up in the middle of the night the other and came up with, I'm going to do shelf by shelf TBR, read or unhaul. So that is what I'm going to call this series. And this is episode 1. And you can already hear Cooper is upset about it. Anyway, so what we're going to do is, it's not that I am, as I said, I'm not reading my shelf down. I have over 3,000 books in my house, actually more than, I don't want to go through the numbers right now, but let's just say that I have a lot of books in my house. I have read, though I've just done all my spreadsheets. I took 2 or 3 months to do that, to get every book that I own in my house on this spreadsheet. There probably were easier ways to do it, but I did it anyway. And I came up with my numbers, and I have read 48.8% of my library. So that means that 51.2% of my books are unread in my house. So that is taking into consideration, I have a few books that I have duplicate copies. I have taken those out of the equation. I've added in the rest of the pre-orders that are supposed to come in for May and the one for June that I have. I just want to make sure that those numbers are already in it. So yeah, so what that means, let me just double check my numbers, is that to get to my goal for this series, at least at this point, is to get to 50%. I want to say that 50% of the books in my house have been read. And I'm so close, like I'm 1.2% off. I was really hoping I'd be the other way, like I'd be just over. And then then I would come up with a different plan. But I really want to be able to say that I have read at least half of my books, since I do have so many. So we'll be doing mostly in percentages, just because that's what I'm going to do. But technically it comes out to, I need to read 31 books off my TBR before I add any more to my library. So like everybody else does, if books come in, I have to adjust my number, and then still keep working towards it. So that is why I've already added in the pre-orders that I plan for May and June. When we get to July, it's a big number. So that'll hurt me. But I'm hoping between now and when I leave on vacation in June, I'm going on a big vacation with my family to Alaska. And I don't think I'll read a huge amount on that trip. I mean, I probably will in some instances, just because my whole family, we're all readers. So I'm pretty sure we'll have some time. There'll be some reading done when we're traveling or doing stuff, but I don't think I'll read anywhere near as much as I normally do. So anyway, the goal between now and then is to, I want to get as down as far. I mean, I would love to at least be down half of the 31 before the end of June, if I can. But that means I can't buy any more books. So I did this is May 18th. So 2 days ago was my birthday, and I did spend money and buy a few more books. Those have already been calculated in. Because I have one outstanding. And then I have another one that's coming in, and I might be off one. So I think one in June that I think I forgot I ordered, that's not in my numbers, but I still think 31 is, I think it'll still work the percentages. If not, it'll have to be 32 books I have to read. Anyway, point is that I'll keep up a date on the numbers, and I'll figure out a way to show you. I'm not quite sure yet. But anyway, I just thought I'd start this, but we're going to do kind of what I've seen other creators do. Is I'm going to do, at least for this first couple episodes, I'm going to do it an easy on me, and I'm going to pick, because I have so many bookshelves And anyway, I will show you, let me go get the iPad and maybe calm the kitty down a minute, and then we will start this with what book I'll start with. But then again, I'll be working with reading other books along the way. So anyway, this is more, I want to do a video of at least, 3 or 4 books that I read for just this vlog that I'm not going to put into, right now I'm doing weekly vlogs. So there might be a little gap here and there of a book that's going to go into this vlog instead. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, let me go get this and then we will start. Okay, I'm going to be playing with angles here because I don't know where we're going. So the first thing is we're going to pick the bookshelf. So, and Cooper, of course, now is here. So I have a spinner wheel with all of my bookshelves. I have named them. The libraries are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 1 in my guest room that you can't see, it's just off camera. I have 2 in the closet in the guest room. So they're closet 1 and 2. I have 2 TBR shelves that are in the front room, which when we get out there, I will show other rooms. You guys have seen them before, but they're fully unread. And then I have the TV shelf. I have the fireplace bookshelf because it's next to the fireplace, and then 1 in the dining room. So those are all the ones I'm counting. I'm also counting, I have a cart. You can kind of see the top, but underneath the top is where I keep my the books that have come in this month. So those aren't what I'm talking about when I'm going to do this, but I could if I want to. Really, it's to do all the urban fantasy, paranormal romances, mass market paperbacks that I own that are on that shelf, that cart. So that's where they all are that I haven't read. All first books in the series. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, hold on, I have to move the cat. He is getting into things I have. Sorry. Okay. Yes, Cooper, you are not helping. You can't even see him because I have you so far up. Anyway, so we're going to spin it and then we'll spin for what shelf on that shelf, because that's what I'm going to do, shelf by shelf. So I'm just going to pick a shelf and then I'm going to do what I've seen there are so many creators who have done this kind of thing. Again, back in the books, books with Emily Fox. I've seen JD Ray Reads. They all have different versions of this, and there's so many more coming out. I can't even name most of them. But I just, as I said, I have plenty of books I can totally use with helping to try to read stuff off my shelf. So I'm going to do ones where, as I said, we're going to pick bookshelf first, and then we'll move, and then we'll pick how many shelves are on that thing. And then I'm just going to pick like 3 or 4 books. It matters how big they are and what books were on that shelf. And those are the ones I'm going to try to read between now and sometime in June. I mean, I'm thinking like mid-month that I'll do a month to see how far I get, because again, I'll be gone for the end of June. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'm doing this on the fly. So anyway, let's do this. Oh no. Yeah, I'm groaning too. Library 6 is the shelf that's right here, which contains a lot of classics and a lot of writing stuff that it's not going to be one of the shelves that we tackle. Then a lot of stuff that I've already read. And then a shelf of photographs and some old school books and some college books and some what do you call them, reference books. So this is going to be a weird one. So let me let me turn the camera, try to get it over here somehow, and I will figure out what shelves I'm actually going to count on. Wow, I was not planning to do classics the first time around. Wow. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so my great angle. Anyway, so this is Library 6. So I count, if stuff's on top, there's a top shelf. But on this one, the 2 books I've read, and they are loaners from friends. I need to get back to them at some point. But on this shelf, there's only a few. This is actually probably one of the only ones where there are shelves where I'm not going to count books. I might move one book. If I get number 6, which you can't see, it's just below, I might move a book we'll see. So I'm going to do shelf 1, 2, 3, and then there's one more lower, which is 6, which has a lot of books I've read. So there's not much there. So if for some reason I get 6, I will add the one writing book that I still want to read that I haven't read out of all these. And I will, the only ones in here I haven't read are a few. Hopefully I won't get those, but there's like 4 of them. So if I get 6, I will add those ones on that, but we're gonna hope I don't get 6. Well, 6, there's some good stuff on there. There's some fantasy romance. And again, everything else I've read. So here we go. So I've done 1, 2, 3, and 6. That's all on this bookshelf. This is an odd one to start with, but we'll start with this one. So we'll go with that. Oh, it would do 6. Okay. Okay, let me figure out what I'm gonna do. Hold on. Okay, not the best angle for Amy, but we're gonna show you the shelf. So these are all my Kit Rocha Beyond series, and then the connecting series, Gideon Writers. I have read all these. I have read 9 Fox Gambit's series, Machineries of Empire. I don't remember what the name of that series is right now off the top of my head, but I've read all 4 of those, and I've read 2 Like the Lightning series, Terra Ignota. I've read all that. So these are all, this is the only sci-fi I have in this room that, because they're red, I just put them on a shelf I can find space for. So anyway, all this stuff I have read. I have read The Vampire Conqueror, and I've read Slaying the Shadow Prince, both by, well, one by Carissa Broadbent and Helen Schurer. So I've read those. So what I have left on this shelf is, oh, and The North Wind by Alexandra Warwick. So what I have left is Slaying the Frost King, Slaying the Naga King, and by different authors, and then Lady of Darkness. But I also have Slaying the Shifter Prince out in the other room by Claire Sager, which I will count because it's supposed to be on this shelf too. It just isn't right now because it's out on my TBR shelf. And then I also have Shut Up and Write the Book by Jenna Moresi. I have the illustrated letters of the Brontes. I have Ramayana, is that how it is? That the India thing. And then I also have the Decameron by Giovanni Boccaro. I'm pretty sure that's all that's on the shelf that I have not read, except for some letters by Elizabeth Gaskell. But I was more interested, that one I just feel like I need to read more of her books before I read that. Anyway, so of the ones that I can read, I have those, what is that, 7? And then the one out in the other room. So I think what I'm going to do is choose, and again, this is like the one shelf I'm going to have the most, read. This isn't going to be typical. Most of my shelves are probably closer to the 50% mark. So, but I think I'm going to definitely put the writing book on, only because I do want to read this. I want to get back into writing, and I haven't read this is one writing book of all the ones that were up here that I haven't read yet. So I'm going to read that one. I don't think I'm going to read Brontes until later in the year. I don't think I'm going to read either of those. But I think I'm going to try to read The Frost King, Slaying the Frost King, which again is part of the Monsters, the Mortal Enemies to Monsters series. So I do want to catch up on this series. So I think what I'm going to do is I might read this one and also Slaying the Shifter Prince. So let me go get that. So we'll at least do 3 on this shelf, I think, in the next month. If I can get to the other 2 that are on this shelf, I would complete the shelf. So there's that too. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, let me go get the other books. Okay, guys. So for this, what I'm going to do for this episode is I'm going to try to read 4 of these books. I think I'm going to try to do that first, so it's 1 a week kind of thing. I think I'm going to try to do that. I think I've made that decision. We'll see how this goes. And again, I need to read 31 to 32 books off my TBR if I don't buy any more books between now and my vacation, or the end of June, which is pretty unlikely for me to make it all the way to the end of June from now without buying a book, but I'm going to try. Not a book buying ban. It's just I'm trying to read books off my shelf. So we're seeing if I'm going to change the narrative. But I'm going to read stuff off my shelf. So the first one I will try to, or one of the ones I want to get to is Shut Up and Write the Book by Jenna Moreci. Again, this is a YouTuber. She writes fantasy romance. And I have loved her YouTube stuff for years. I haven't read her book yet. I do have The Savior's Champion, I think, on I have as an ebook, so I could read that too. But anyway, it's not off my shelf. So, but I'm gonna read this because it's the only writing book that I haven't read, and it's on my shelf. So I do want to read that. And she is writing another one about how to write fantasy romance. So I should read this one before the other book comes out. And then I am gonna try to read Slaying the Shifter Prince, Slaying the Frost King, and Slaying the Naga King, because this would complete the series of Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers. This would give me a book by Claire Sager that I want to read from. This one is by Candace Robinson and Elle Beaumont. I don't know much about that one. Or Jessica M. Butler. I don't know her either. But Claire Sager, I know I have Beneath Black Sails, which I want to read that series. So, and there might be another series of hers that I want to read. But anyway, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on that because that would clear that shelf except for one fantasy romance, which when I finish the Slaying the Shifter Prince, I'll have to move it anyway because it won't fit on that shelf with all those books. So I was not expecting a library 6 bookshelf, and I was definitely not figuring the 6th shelf on that bookcase. So anyway, these are the 4 books. So I think that's it. So I will go back. I will go off and I will come back and let you know how it goes. Okay, so it's a little bit later in the week. It's Thursday the 22nd. So I have started, well, technically I've started 2 of the books. One book I've only read about 20 pages, so we're not going to talk about that one yet. I'll come back to that one. But I did start Shut Up and Write the Book by Jenna Moreci. This one is the writing book. And I read about 107 pages of 220, so I'm almost halfway. So this book is not for me. So, but I do want to very much say that if you are a beginner writer and you're looking for a guide to mention all the things you should think about before you sit down and write your first novel, your first draft to your novel, and the things you need to think about or that could help you decide how you want to write it, this is the book for you. She is very straightforward. I think she does a really good job of explaining a lot of terms and a lot of different aspects of what's in a novel. But to me, who again, I used to write all the time. I know it doesn't seem like that because I haven't written it all in the last couple of years really, but I used to write all the time. I used to write almost every day I got home from work for sometimes a couple hours. Like I used to write and on weekends I would write, and I have written many novels that'll never see the light of day. But the point is it was fun. I enjoyed that. I wrote many novellas, I wrote many stories, I wrote so much stuff. And then, you know, there was a certain point where something happened where I just kind of slowed down, and then the last couple of years have not been very good for me. So with writing, I haven't been able to find my motivation. So I think right now, while I'm trying to make some other changes in my life, health-wise and stuff, I think emotionally I should really start writing again. So that's why I wanted to pick up this book and why I put it as one of the options, because I did want to read this. This is the only one of the writing books that was on my shelf that I have not read. I have read everything else over the years. I've had some of those books for years. But I did want to read the one that I hadn't read. So this isn't, I said, so again, I'm halfway through this. This is not for me. I am beyond this book. This book is not for somebody like myself who has written a lot over their lifetime. So I do think she is, again, I recommend this highly for somebody who is starting out, who is just looking for an easy book to kind of explain some of the terminology, explain some of the things you have to think about before you start. You do have to take into consideration that, again, she, like a lot of the other books I've read that are by other authors, they all have their own way of doing things. And the thing about writing is there is no wrong way to do anything. I don't care what anybody says. You can do it however works for you. So she is a big outliner. So this is the one thing where she and I do not match up at all. So she thinks you should write everything out before you actually start writing the novel. You should take the time to really plot everything out and put as many of the things that you think about and all the things you want to add and have them on, on the the whole outline, so that when you sit down that you just have to go off the outline. And to me, that is the most boring way to write a book ever. So I will never do that. I look at it as, I know how it starts, I know how it ends, and I know 3 to 4 things that are major events that happen between those two, usually when I start. And then I try to figure out what happens in between those. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I can't help it. That is the way I write a novel. And it worked for many years, for me. Anyway, I'm not saying my way is perfect either. I'm just saying that is the only thing in this book that I found that she kind of inserted herself enough to say that she thinks this is the right way. But again, all novelists who write a book on writing will tell you their way of doing things. But all of them are quick to say, we all do it our own way, and you don't have to do any specific way. That's just the way they do it, and they try to tell you that. Anyway, the thing to say is that most of her stuff she said in here is so basic. I think that it's a really good beginner book, and I would recommend that for those people. So anyway, I'm going to finish this book off probably tomorrow or Saturday. It matters how tomorrow night goes. I don't have anything planned, but it just matters how much I read. And then, as I said, I might try to write this weekend. I was kind of hoping to get myself back into the mode. I wasn't thinking I was do it before my vacation. That's in a month. But, maybe the weekend I can spare a little time to go sit at my computer and actually do some writing. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. If it happens, I'll let you know. But anyway, so far so good. As I said, it's fine. Not for me, but I'm still going to finish it because I want to finish it and say I've read that. And it's get that read on my shelf. So anyway, so I will come back after I finish that. And then we will talk about the book that I started on Monday that I probably will get back to. That'll be the next book I read. Okay, guys, so it is 8 o'clock on Friday night, and I finished Shut Up and Write the Book by Jenna Moreci. So again, I'm going to say that this was not a book for me, but it's a great book for somebody who hasn't written a novel before, or has attempted it and needs a little bit more help. I think this is very straightforward. It does say a step-by-step guide, and I think she makes a lot of really good points in here, or explains a lot of things that you need to think about. And I think again, I agree with most of the stuff that she says in here, but there's not a lot that's, I'd say the outline is still the only part I'd question. I think she, most everything else made kind of sense to me. I know people who write an outline, a super detailed outline, spend so much time on it, and they actually write to that outline. And it does help them, and it keeps them on track, and they know that they have to do that. They've plotted it completely. I have the mentality of that if I plot it, then the story is done in my head, and I can just put that away, and I will never write the story, because I want the play. I want to be able to play within the story and let my characters come to life and make their own situations. And even though I have plot points, like I talked about I'm pretty sure last night on here, I want to make sure that I'm able to pivot. Sometimes, you know, I come up with certain scenes I want to make sure I hit, but I might not have them in the right order, you know, the first time around. And I go, oh, actually, because these things happen, this should be first, and then that'll be more impactful. It's later. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's been years since I wrote, but I still am kind of what that was called a plantser, or somebody who plots and pantses at different times. So my nose is just, sorry. Too much cat hair in there. But the point is that I think this is, again, there's certain things you can take with a grain of salt. Everybody writes books differently. You do what you do. But I think this is a great one to just kind of at least get the ideas and the terminology, and even ideas on how to approach certain parts of the book if you're having trouble with that. I think she was I liked that she talked about how some people have the slog in the middle where there's nothing happening in the story. You have a great beginning and a great end, but maybe the middle is just kind of not doing it. There's nothing really happening. And when you're supposed to be rising the tension and growing the story and making it, you know, getting tenser and tenser. But if you just kind of, you know, anyway, point is that I still think this is a great book for somebody who's more of a beginner than I am. Again, I'm not saying I'm a great writer. I'm saying I've just written a lot. So, I did that. I don't know if I'm going to pick up her, right now she has a pre-order out for How to Write Romantasy. I think it comes out this summer or the fall. I can't remember now. I'm not sure I'd pick that up. I don't know if, again, I think, if it's like this book, it'll be probably talking about a lot of the same things, but with romantasy tropes and things. So I don't know. I don't think I need that personally. But anyway, but I got this off my TBR, but the problem is I think I've realized that I never put in any of my writing books on my spreadsheet. I have this fear that all my numbers are wrong because I think I skipped that shelf by accident. I don't think it's in my, I'm going to check tomorrow morning. So I'll let you know. But I have this fear, I don't remember putting any of those books in on that shelf. And again, I've read almost everything on that shelf that was a writing reference book. And this was the only one I had left. So number-wise, it would really help me, and it'd cut down on it would help with my percentage. But they're all reference books. So I don't know if I want to put them on my TBR spreadsheet. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know. I don't know if I'm going to do it. So this might have been a freebie. I'm not going to count this right now. But I'm going to double check that it's not in the system. If it's on my list, then I will count it. But if I haven't put it in, darn it, I'm not going to count it. So until, I don't know, I just have to decide if I want to. I didn't put any of my textbooks, and I didn't put any of my reference books and some of my folklore books that are, you know, they're just anthologies of stories about folklore. Some of them I put in, but especially the ones I haven't read. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Anyway, and then real quick, I am going to read Slaying the Frost King. This is the next Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers that I'm going to read. This is by Candace Robinson and Elle Beaumont. So I did start it on Monday morning on the treadmill. And then I switched books when I drove to work. I just wasn't ready for this, to start this book on a Monday morning. So this weekend, I am going to finish the audiobook I'm currently in, and then I will continue to this book and hopefully get this done by the end of the weekend or on Tuesday when I go back to work, and it's Memorial Day weekend. So I might have time to read and listen to this. I might read along and maybe I'll like it better. I don't know. It's hard to say. I only did 26 pages. And this is talking about the Frost King, and he is going to the local human village, which did not do the correct sacrifice. I think he's supposed to sacrifice to his mother who passed away or was killed or something. I'm not sure how this works, but there's some legend or something that happens if you don't do the ceremony within a certain amount of time. I think something bad happens. I think that's what happens. So he goes to the goes to the village, and he is going to take a sacrifice, a human, because they were supposed to do something with the, with like livestock, but it was a lean year, so they didn't want to waste an animal for this now. So of course we have the main female character, Ira or something like that, and I'm not sure how she again, I didn't read far enough. He's just about to show up, so I'm sure she gets picked and she gets taken, but I don't know what happens once he takes her prisoner, because I wasn't sure if he's going to kill somebody and then take a prisoner, or just take the prisoner. I don't know. We will see. It's not super long, and the audiobook isn't really either. Let's see. I was trying to see how long it actually is. It's like 285 pages, so it should be a pretty quick read. So I'm going to try to get this done fairly soon, so that because again, if I get the books done early, then I can put this video up earlier than I planned, and then, maybe start the next one earlier. I don't know if I can get another round done before my vacation, but we'll see. Anyway, that's what I'm going to read next. So I will check in once I get to that, and get maybe about halfway. I'll try to check in and let you know how that's going. Hey guys, so I just wanted to quickly come back and discuss what I'm going to do in this, because I have not written any of my writing books, even the ones that are kind of memoir-ish, that were linked to writing. There are 26 books that now I've read all of them in parts or in full. Some of them are like full reference guides, so I don't really want to count those. And most of them are by other writers or other editors and stuff that talk about, about things with writing. So I didn't put any of these on my TBR list because, again, I had read them all, but I consider them reference, and I'm not putting reference books on my spreadsheet. If I did, as I said, that would be 26 books. So it would, it would skew all my numbers again. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I could say that, hey, I've read that many, but it doesn't, I treat these differently. So I think I'm going to keep them off my sheet right for now. I'm not going to count them. Maybe you guys can let me know what you think. I don't want to give myself the up that, I've read more of my books than I thought I did, which is true. I have read all those books over the years, but some of them are purely reference books, and other ones are books like this one where I've read all the way through. So I'm not sure. I don't think I'm going to count them at this point. So this was a freebie, but it's done. So everything on that bookshelf on shelf number 4, where I grabbed this one from, I've read everything on there, or their reference books, or their travel books that I've not read cover to cover, and I won't. So I think I'm going to be okay with that. So we're just gonna, this was just a bonus. Darn it. But it's done. I did read it. And as I said, it's, it wasn't what I planned. I was hoping to at least make some progress. So anyway, we'll just continue on. And as I said, I'll get to slaying the Frost King next, and I'll talk more when I get partway through that. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick mid-book update. I'm at 50-ish% of slaying the Frost King. So I almost DNF'd this at 26 pages. I was like, I don't know about this. And I was like, okay. And I was going to listen to it earlier today. And instead I picked up a reread because I was like, I don't feel like reading this. And again, I do have the audiobook. I don't know when I bought it or got it. I don't know. Anyway, point is that I was like, oh, I don't know. So I didn't listen to it this morning. But after lunch, sorry if you can hear the laundry going. Sorry. So I'm doing the laundry. And I watched some BookTube, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to listen to at least an hour of this, because I had only listened to 20 some minutes when I exercised on Monday. So I thought, okay, I need to at least listen to it for an hour, so I'm over, the 50 some page mark, at least, before I make a decision, because I was like, that doesn't really give me enough time. But actually, as much as this isn't the best thing, and it's not like, I'm pretty sure this is just going to be like 3 stars in the end. I am interested, and I want to see what happens. I guess I'm still, I guess I'm like, well, I like it enough. And I guess it's because a book I was reading today, I'm almost positive I'm going to DNF that one, because it's just not pulling me in. And this one, at least, I'm pulling along with the plot is pulling me in. The romance, meh. I'm not, I mean, again, nothing much has happened at the halfway mark. So it's not quite as spicy so far as the other 2 that I read in this series. I'm pretty sure those ones got spicier earlier. I don't know. It's been that was those, I read those both last year, so I don't remember. But I don't hate this. I don't love it either. So but I'm gonna continue it. And again, I said I have. It's only 200. It's actually only 260 pages long. There's a big section, or I can't think what the word is right now. Part of one of the other books that the Naga King one is in the back here. So technically, that took off about 25 pages. So I didn't know that was there when I looked up how much this is. So it's only like 260. So it is the shortest, I think, of all of them. I think, at least short of the 3 that I'm going to try to read for this project at this point. So anyway, so I'm going to continue this. I think I'm going to continue this tonight and try to get it done. We'll see. I have 2 hours left on the audiobook, and as I said, I'm halfway. We'll see. I don't know if I want to listen to it that long. I might listen to it a little bit more and then have dinner and then maybe come back to it, or I'll finish it tomorrow. We'll see. But I'm planning to get this done either today or tomorrow, because I am interested to see where it goes. The action is starting to pick up. So I'm kind of curious. The romance, I'm guessing, is starting, but it's still early stages. So I don't know. I don't know how again, I don't think this is going to be a favorite, but I'm not DNFing it, which I really was almost positive I was going to, from how I felt this morning when I was like, oh, I'm not listening to that this morning when I was half awake and I had to go outside and cut blackberry vines. Anyway, so I will come back when I finish that, either today or tomorrow, and then I will have to start one of the other books. Hey guys, so now I didn't say that it was Sunday, but it's Sunday the 25th, and I just finished Slaying the Frost King by Candace Robinson and Elle Beaumont. I liked this way more than I thought I would, so it was a surprise that way, but this was, how do I want to explain it? I really do, it does actually, mortal enemies to monster lovers. This one, I would say, definitely does follow that. I'm glad that they were mortal enemies. They both wanted to kill each other in the beginning for different reasons. He wanted to sacrifice her in order to save the kingdom, and she wanted to kill him because he just seemed so mean. No, there's a lot more to it than that. I'm just kidding. But I liked their back and forth, and the way that, they grew to trust each other. And I think the romance itself got better. Definitely the second half was way spicier because they finally got that far into their relationship. So that was good. My problem with this is I liked the plot, like overall, even from the beginning with all this stuff going on. Because again, it had to do with her going to be a sacrifice because her village messed up and didn't do the sacrifice like they were supposed to. And then he is having visions of, something going really wrong, and she's at the center of it. So there's a lot of good plot points in here. My problem is the magic is so wishy-washy in this. Again, the reason for we know why. Okay, how do I say that? So we know why they need to do the sacrifice, because we knew that, but we didn't see that because it was something that happened many years before. And the magic that comes between that they both have to interact with later in the book. It comes too easy in a lot of ways, and it's not really, it doesn't fully make sense why they're able to do certain things. I think they're cool elements of why they happen, or, you know, the story-wise, but I feel like it falls apart really quickly. There's just, you have to suspend your disbelief, like, really a lot for the magical stuff in here. As I said, I like the action that was in here when the bad guys showed up. I called a couple of twists that I knew were coming, but overall, it was still a fun time. Like, I'm still glad I read it. I will never reread it though, and I don't know if I'm going to keep my copy right now. I'm going to keep it for now. I might wait till I see how I feel about the other books, because the other 2 books I am keeping because I really enjoyed them. This, though, I'm right. This is a 3 for me. This is, and its rating is like a 3. So it's not really surprising that that's what I'm giving it. I liked it. As I said, I liked it. Like, it was fine. Like, it was fine. And I'm glad I gave it the chance to read it, because I was almost DNFing it this morning because I could not get myself to try it, but I'm like, no, I need to actually read it a little bit more, because the first 26 pages isn't enough. So anyway, I'm glad I got that done. So that means I finished 2 books for this, even though the first book doesn't count for anything, but I did get 1 done. So anyway, my goal, hold on, is I'm hoping to start Slaying the Naga King by Jessica M. Butler. Now, this one, there is no audiobook available, so I will have to read this physically. The ebook costs too much, so I can't read it on my Kindle, so I will have to read this physically from this copy. So this one has a really low rating. Like, I mean, as I said, the Frost King was around a 3, and I think this one's under a 3, I think. Or it's lower. It's like the lowest. So I don't know if I'll make it through this one either. I don't know what a Naga King is. I don't know, I'm thinking Avatar is all I'm thinking about. But it has to do with, there's a crushing psychic plague that threatens to destroy her family and half the world's population. Oh, great. And then I don't know what Nagas are. I mean, I guess they must be some kind of creature that I just don't know enough about. They say this is a Beauty and the Beast with scales and twists. So we'll see. So he's, of course, he's a king, and he has issues. His people are having trouble with nightmares of some sort. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'm going to try to start this fairly soon. I don't think it's going to be tonight, but probably in the next few days I might start it. I don't know if I'll get very far, because again, it's physical. And I have tomorrow off still because it's Memorial Day tomorrow. So we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to read tomorrow. I kind of think I'm going to read something else, but I might start this tomorrow and maybe try to read 50 or so pages just to try it and see if I want to continue. Looks like, oh, there's even a glossary. How nice. It's 445 pages. It looks really big in this copy. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. So anyway, this will be the next one that I attempt. The last one will be after that. But, you know, I might get through these a lot quicker than I planned. But I am going to let that go for tonight. And as I said, I at least got one of those done, and I made it to the end. I'm still surprised. So anyway, I will come back once I have at least started Slaying the Naga King. Hey guys, so it is still Sunday, and it's about 9 o'clock at night. So it's about, I think, 2 hours since I talked to you last. And I tried to read another book, and I might be DNFing that book. I'm still trying to decide. But then I decided, you know, hey, let's just go ahead and try this. You know, maybe this is what I want to read next. No. Anyway, so, okay. I know this has a really, really low rating, and I know kind of why, or, you know, again, I'm going to DNF it at 48 pages. I read 4 chapters, and I like complicated books. I like confusion, like getting dropped into a fantasy world and learning about stuff as you go. I don't need to be like spoon-fed, like a lot of info dumping. But you do have to kind of explain to me a little bit more than what this book is doing. This book drops you in and then kind of just escalates it without really making a whole lot of sense. So we're following Rhea, and she is with some friends, and they keep getting attacked by this psychic plague that pretty much knocks them out, and they kind of have really bad dreams and stuff. And so it's affecting most of the people in this area. They have moved out of town so that they thought would be far enough away to not be affected, but they still are being affected. And they come up with a plan to do some kind of psychic, mind meld thing to go into the ether to figure out who's doing this, this plague. And okay, so she sees the Naga King. So I guess it's like a half snake man. Yeah, I've heard it. Like, I know the name, but I don't think I've read a book on a Naga before. So anyway, and then she sees another guy who she's immediately attracted to, and she's having a conversation with him. He doesn't believe that she exists because it's kind of their, again, mind to mind kind of stuff. And she is trying to figure out stuff. He doesn't want to tell her any information, to give away his location, and it just made no sense, half the stuff they said to each other. Andy's kind of flirty, and she's like, what? Anyway, so she gets back from this experience, and she didn't learn very much, except that they think it's the Nagas now who are doing this for some reason. Everybody thinks they're myths. Anyway. And then she wants to try to figure out how to get back so she could see the handsome guy that she saw last time. And, yeah, I just don't care. It made absolutely no sense, most of that. Like, I just was like, I don't get it. I as I said, I try to give books some time, but I admit, I am a quick DNFer sometimes. And I would have DNF'd this at 22 pages. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it because the Frost King was better after I got into it, slaying the Frost King. And I'm glad I continued on because I wasn't sure about that one either at 26 pages. I was like, oh, I don't know about this one. And then it got better. And this one, I just don't care. And I'm going to give up. The ratings on this is so low that I'm just like, it's not worth my time. I shouldn't have bought it. I did remember hearing about this like a long time ago, that nobody really liked it, but I still got it when I bought the whole set of Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers because I was trying to complete the series. Anyway, but this isn't going to work for me. I mean, nice art and all, but no. Anyway, so that is a DNF, but it'll go, I'm taking it off my TBR and it'll be into my Unhaul pile. So, that said, I only have one more left, Slaying the Shifter Prince, that I was going to try to read for this video. So, this one, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about either. I mean, it's Claire Sager, who is, I do want to read, I have the first novel to Beneath Black Sails that I got as a gift from one of my subscribers that I do want to read. So, I haven't read from her yet, but I'm going to try this. This is another one that says it's a twisted reimagining of Beauty and the Beast, but it has to do with a woman who is after vengeance to take out the Prince of Monsters, and because something with her sister's death. And the plan fails and she is taken prisoner, and she becomes his pet. So I think this is another one that's kind of like, slave master kind of thing. So we'll see. I'm not sure what could bring her around from that. I don't know. I remember people liking this one, maybe not as well as I said, Slaying the Vampire Conqueror and Slaying the Shadow Prince. I read last year, and again, Slaying the Shadow Prince I really enjoyed. Slaying the Vampire Conqueror was okay, and then now I've read the Slaying the Frost King, which is okay. DNF the Naga King. So we'll see what this one happens with. So anyway, this one's going to be the next one. I will try to get to that in the next week or so. I'm not going to do it right now because I am kind of away. I want to get away from the slaying. So I'll try to get that either within the next week or next week. And so I can wrap up the vlog. And yeah, I am sad that this didn't work out. That it didn't even let me get into it enough to... I just didn't care. And I'm just not going to... I just don't want to. Anyway, so that's it for now. I will come back, as I said, when I start Slaying the Shifter Prince. Hey guys, so I meant to tell you when I was going to start to read the last book in this vlog for the Shelf by Shelf, but circumstances happened in June. The Amazing Readathon, we're in the first week and the second prompt dropped, and I started another book, but I have soft DNF'd it for now. I was like, today I was listening to it and I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't listen to this. And I realized that this book, Slaying the Shifter Prince, also goes with the prompt, which was using a violent word. So slaying. So I got this work. I did use a credit to get the audiobook because I didn't have the book with me at work when I made that decision. And I also I thought it'd be easier to listen to it than read it, I guess. Because I'm reading another series right now that I'm really into, that I might be binging the whole series right in a row. Soon. I'm at least in the second book of another series. So anyway, but this was the last of the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers series that was on the shelf that we are working on. So I actually really enjoyed this overall. Like, it's not perfect. It's not... I don't know if this is going to be a book that I keep. For right now, I'm going to, because I liked it enough and I liked the audiobook enough. Even though I would say the narrator, Allie, I can't remember now what it was, but she, the male character wasn't great. Like, I didn't like the way his voice was. But I knew that going in. I saw some reviews on it and I was like, well, I still want to... It's all from one POV, so I was like, well, I might as well just deal with it. So I did. Again, this is by Claire Sager, which I did last week read another book by her, the novella that is the prequel to Beneath Black Sails, which was a series by her that I want to read. But I had this one first, and I thought, I really need to get to this too. So I really enjoyed the pirate one, so I thought, well, I better get to the Slaying the Shifter Prince. And since it was in this, we're doing this vlog, I thought I better do it. So overall, I enjoyed it. I think I liked it a little bit more than I did what was the other one? Slaying the Frost King. I think it was just because I liked the characters. This is a revenge novel. The main character, Zeta, sister died 10 years ago, and she has spent 10 years trying to get it where she will perform for the Shifter Prince, and who are part of the Fae court, and he is kind of exiled due to he is one of the Fae that can change into another form, and so, but he can't hide it anymore. So his court is kind of, out away from the other court, and she has been waiting to get back there so she can, because she believes he killed her sister 10 years before, that she saw him standing over her sister's dead body. And so we have this revenge plot, and then things happened from that, and she fails at the attempt, and she is taken on as his pet. So we have the master slave kind of thing. We have she is being punished for trying to kill him. She is human and he is Fae. And there's a lot of stuff. Both of them have secrets and things like that. And, you know, at the root of this is still her trying to get revenge for her sister. So that drives a lot of what happens in here. And then you just see them like get over certain things with each other and grow closer. So, I overall enjoyed this. It wasn't perfect. Like, I'm not saying this is a book, as I said, I don't know if this is a book I would reread. And again, I'm kind of sad that I had to use a full credit for it, but I also, you know, because it wasn't on sale, because Audible, of course, is having a great sale this week, and it wasn't on that, so I just used the credit. But I'm glad I listened to it today, because I was just not getting on with the other book I was reading or listening to, and this worked out really well because it was pretty light and easy, and it had a lot of good sexy times. But again, there is a lot of punishment kind of play, and well, some of it was play, but you know what I mean? It was definitely had that stuff. So it's not like a favorite, I don't think. So I don't know if I'm going to keep this book. Again, it's the same as I feel about the Frost King. I'm not positive about that, but at this point I have read them. So again, as a recap, I did read Shut Up and Write the Book by Jenna Moreci. So of course this doesn't count, but I did read it. I then read Slaying the Frost King by Candace Robinson and Elle Beaumont, which I enjoyed but didn't love. Like, it was okay. It was okay. I then DNF'd Slaying the Naga King by Jessica M. Butler. For sure I'm getting rid of this book. And then now I've just finished Slaying the Shifter Prince by Claire Sager, and I enjoyed this one. Like, as I said, I think I enjoyed this a little bit more than the other one. I think I enjoyed this almost as much as I liked Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, because I had some issues with that one, and I think I kind of feel the same way about this one. So I liked them, but I didn't love them. I think in this series, of the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers, my favorite is Slaying the Shadow Prince, which I know for sure I want to reread at some point. So on the shelf, so the only book I have one book left that I have not read, and I will be rearranging it because now I've moved some books around in my collection. So we're just going to deal with that. So anyway, so this was my first well, I'll just show you real quick. Hold on. Okay, so real quick, if you noticed, I took out a lot of the sci-fi here and I moved it into another room because it wasn't supposed to be here anyway. So I still have All My Beyond and Gideon's Riders. I moved over House of Bane and Blood because I'd finished that the other week and it needed a new home because it was on my TBR shelf. So I moved it here. Here are all the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers, except for the one I will DNF. And then I just have a couple more books that these two I've read. And so the only one on this shelf right at this point that I have not read is Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rourke. So I have space for some more fantasy romance to go here, which I will probably move stuff over. But at this point, my percentage is pretty high on this shelf, which is nice, and I've moved stuff. So we'll say that was a win. And yes, that's a Cooper. Okay, guys. So I thought I had my numbers all right, and then I started getting confused, and they didn't make sense, and then I realized my mistake. So when I talked about what my total was and my percentages, I added in some pre-orders that were coming in at the end of May and June and parts of June, but I don't think I did that right. So we're gonna call this a win. I'll explain. So I said at the beginning of this video, which again was a couple weeks ago, is that I was at 48.8% of my TBR had been read, or my library, my books in my house have been read. So I had 51.2% books that I have not read. So I wanted to get down that 1.2%. So, I mean, I knew at the time it was about 31 books. That was my estimate. That's why I thought if I did 3 or 4 books, an episode by the end of the year, hopefully I'll get there. But again, I have to remember that I still buy books. So the problem is that now that I've readjusted, because I did exactly what it is today. This is June 4th. So again, this is a couple weeks later and I finally got to the last book. So what I'm going to say is that we'll be a little bit more careful next time, because I'm not adjusting. The only thing I'm adjusting for is if I happen to have more than one copy of something. So I've already taken that number out. So that said, of my books right now, I actually read is 48.9%. So I did go down. I did get a whole 0.1% of books read in my library. But what that means is that, I mean, it looks to me like I read quite a few books off my shelf because I was participating in Escape the Readathon at the same time as this. And now I've gone into the Amazing Readathon. Yeah. So both of them are very high number books. So I did read a lot, but I can't, as I said, I've kind of messed up my numbers. But we're going to go from here. But percentage wise, we're going to go with that. I read 0.1% more of my books. And then buying didn't go so well. I did buy quite a few more books than I expected to. I had a few days where I bought some. So technically I have one more book over what I started with. But because I read so much, my percentage did, as I said, I made a 0.1%. So I still have 1.1% to read before I can be even. And again, more books will be coming in, more books I will, read. So we're going to see how long this takes. So I will try to do another episode of this. I don't know if I'll get to do another one in June. Probably, I don't know, with the Amazing Readathon, I might not get to. I might do it when I first get back from my vacation sometime in July, or, do it then. But I wanted to get this out and show that I do want to work on my TBR that's in the house, but I also have a tendency to buy a lot of books, and I read a lot. It's just, the numbers, I just want to get to 50%. As I said, I think that's still the goal overall. Once I hit a 50% mark, maybe I'll be able to change how I do a video like this to where I'm just reading what's coming in, or getting out, keeping pace with what comes in and making sure I stay at the 50%. But right now the goal is to get to the 50%. So this is the first episode. Let me know what you guys think, or are there anything you would like to see different, or anything else. Again, number wise, I did read a lot in this between starting this and when I think my numbers were a little off, except the percentages is correct. It's just, I had a few little tweaks I had to do. So I went back and tried to figure out, but I think it's because why it felt wrong to me is because I already added in the pre-orders, which I think I mentioned, but I think I shouldn't have done that. I think I should have done something a little differently. So anyway, we'll see how it goes going forward, because I think there's only one book that I had listed as a pre-order, that I have one or two that I had in that number. So there might be still a discrepancy of one or two books, but I will shoot. By the time I start the next one, everything should be where I could get a solid number again and figure out my percentages again. But I will be working on reading down my TBR all the way through June as much as I can. Vacation, that's going to stall, but we'll get around that. So anyway, let me know if you've done this, or if you found it really useful to look at your shelves this way by picking. I will try to, as I said, pick from a different bookshelf, at least before I return to the same bookcase. So unless I get the TBR shelves, I think that's the only one I want to. If I get that more than once, that's not a big deal, because I have all those books are unread. There's a few rereads in there, but most of them are unread books. So anyway, I think that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Yes, Cooper, I'm done. Okay?